Hello everyone and welcome to Hill Street. Today's story is The Kubaton. If you end up enjoying this story, please leave a like. And if you enjoy hearing stories from me, please subscribe and become a resident of Hill Street and let me know how I'm doing in the comments. And I just want to say, Happy Halloween again. I hope everyone had a good night last night. And if you're going out tonight, have a fun time and be safe. Now, let's get to this nightmare. I hate Halloween. I've been stalked by the Kubaton for decades now, and its power only grows every year. The spooky month has always been the worst. At no other time does it have more carte blanche to walk the earth than in the 10th month of the year. Let's start from the beginning. I love scary stories now, as a 30-something-year-old, but as a child, I didn't. Not when you've seen the real evil that I've seen. When I was about 10 years old, I think I documented the being's energy for the first time. I could not have known what I was seeing at the time, which somehow makes it even more terrifying as an adult. I lived in a remote area of the Midwest with my parents and 2 younger brothers. We had a spiral staircase, which freaked a lot of my friends out for whatever reason. The scarier thing to me was the hallway when you entered the 2nd floor. After the spiral stairs, which did have a window in the middle of one of the curves, you had to dash through a dark hallway with a large closet facing your right side to my room. The thing is that the light switch is on the opposite side, so when you got up the stairs, you could not turn the light on until you passed the closet. An odd design that I'll never get. There was no light switch when you entered the hallway. You had to walk through the hall. And my parents would, of course, not just let us leave that light on all the time. As I made the nightly sprint to my room, finally turning the light on for comfort, I found my way to my top bunk, an older brother's right. As I faded to black, I heard a child's laughter, followed by the same child calling my name. He, Blake, it called out. I was frozen in fear. Eventually, I peeked under my top bunk to see if my 5-year-old brother was awake, attempting to communicate with me. He was dead asleep, and didn't appear to me that he was faking. This could have been explained, but my 10-year-old brain went right to, there's a ghost. It shook me so much that I have never forgotten it. Even stranger, if you listen to the end of Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, you will hear what I heard. This was too much to comprehend the first time I heard it, which was maybe 3 years later. I didn't realize at the time the Kubaton was a mimic among many other talents it produced. That Halloween of my 13th year, the specter really announced itself. Maybe it only can break through when you start to enter your teen years. I'm not sure. I was at home, near the tree line in our backyard. We lived in the country, like the real country, where your next door neighbor is like 10 miles away. As I moved closer to the trees, I just got that feeling, the feeling of being watched. Some people might not know what that is, or even believe it when they hear that cliche line, but I know it's real. It feels like someone dropped 100 spiders on you, a full body tingling. I tried to ignore it, but the feeling was so strong. And then I saw it. 2 little glowing eyes, perfectly round in shape. It was low to the ground. I could not make out the rest of the being. I slowly backed up. At least I had a little sense as a young teen. I could feel that this thing didn't want to chase me. It was smug. It just like letting me know that it was finally out to play. I turned my head to see how far my house was, and when I turned back, of course, it was gone. Gone for now, but not gone for the rest of that Halloween. My mom banned my brothers and I into the small town to trick or treat. We were the kids that had to wear winter jackets over our costumes, as it was always around 40 degrees Fahrenheit or so in late October. I hated it. You never saw Superman wear a starter jacket, did you? The night was like any other trick-or-treating event. House to house, bag of candy getting fuller. As I turned down one of the streets, I froze. I have never seen this area before in my life. Sweat immediately starts to bead under my costume and winter jacket. I didn't see anyone. It was like I was dropped into Elm Street. An absolutely terrifying broke-down house, glowing red, was straight ahead of me. I started to understand what was happening. The Kubaton was nearby. It was gaining more power. That house that appeared at the end of the street lit up even brighter, even angrier. It felt like it was going to eat me. I immediately ran. I don't even remember what direction. I just ran as hard as I could. I ran so hard, with my eyes closed out of fear and adrenaline coursing through me. The next thing I knew, I was on the ground, with my brothers and a few other friends crowded over me. "You okay?" one of my buddies asked. "That was a pretty good fall. Why the heck were you running like that anyway?" "It's not that late. We will get plenty of candy." I must have thrown some lame excuse out. I can't really remember it now. I couldn't tell my fellow 13-year-olds and my younger brother that I was just in a dream world with a demonic house staring me down. The rest of that Halloween, thankfully, was uneventful. I dove into my candy treasure, trying to forget what I'd just gone through by putting myself into a sugar coma. As far as the times between Halloweens, not much happens. I can lead a somewhat normal life. I've had plenty of run-of-the-mill scares. I can never fully attribute those to the Kubaton. I know when it's that son of a gun that's messing with me. And this thing is patient. It waited for years to get back to me. One night, in my mid-20s, my girlfriend and I were leaving our apartment. As I entered the hallway towards the front door, I noticed our spare bedroom door was open, with the light on. I asked if she left that open for some reason. That door was never left open, let alone the light being on. She seemed just as confused as me. It was around Christmas time, so I figured she was hiding presents there and just forgot to shut the door. Kind of cute, so I let it go. I turned the light off and shut the door. When we tipsily returned a few hours later, I threw my keys on the desk by our front door and went right to the bathroom to empty out the rest of the contents of my night. As I turned the corner, I saw that extra bedroom door was once again open and the light was on. I know we weren't home and we don't have anyone else with a key, that could access the apartment. Someone could have broken in, sure, but absolutely nothing was disturbed or taken, and the front door was locked. Burglars usually don't take the time to lock up after they rob someone's house. It was that damn Kubaton getting to me, telling me that it's back, and this time, it would be hanging around for a while. The spirit, demon, whatever you want to call it, does not confine itself to land. Not too long ago, a friend took me on his little bass fishing boat. We weren't fishing, just taking the vessel out for a quick run. There's a decent-sized buoy about 5 miles from shore that signals where freighters can travel, as the lake we were on is quite shallow. A deep trench was dug for these massive ships to safely travel through. The closer we got, the more uneasy I became. I didn't understand why the buoy looked so strange. But then I saw it. There were about a dozen birds around. I have never seen them before. I tried to look them up, but had no success. All at once, they looked at me, with fire in their eyes. I begged my friend to book it for land. "Get the hell out of here," I said with what I hoped was as much urgency as I could muster. Of course, he was confused, but seeing how wrecked I was, he still did as I asked. The devil birds followed, some diving into the water, some screeching. This was the most scared I have ever been. I was holding on for dear life. One of the beings slammed into the boat. "Come on, push it," I continued to yell at my friend, still confused and seemingly not bothered at all. He kept the throttle down. Most of the birds had given up, but one continued. He got close enough to land on the boat. I could hear his long, sharp talons gripping the edge of the boat. I felt like this might be it. I'm about to die in a freaking boat, with my eyes pecked out by an overgrown chicken of all things. As I slowly turned around, the wind whipping hard enough to make my eyes water, I saw nothing. No bird, no evil chickens, no demons. As I realized I was safe, I also realized we were back in his canal, cruising at a comfortable pace. Hey man, what the hell was all that about? You're joking, right? You saw those things. If they caught up to us, we would have had some issues, I said. He was looking at me with a blank stare. Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just wanted to get us home, so you didn't have some kind of medical episode out there, he said. I let it die right there. The Kubaton apparently shielded itself from him, just to make me seem even crazier. I admit, it's working. All I can think about now is going home and locking all my doors and windows. I can't be out, especially so close to Halloween. You might be wondering why I call this entity the Kubaton. It's simple, kind of stupid really, but simple. It just came to me when I felt its presence for the first time. If you Google what it really is, it's a self-defense weapon, a general term for a hard, rigid, self-defense stick, as it were. The only comparison is that spirit, like the tool, is small, unassuming, but can pack some pain. A few years later, while sleeping in my room, I was woken up for no particular reason. I never slept through the night, not in years. My room was pitch black. As I groggily opened my nearly crusted shut eyes, I saw a darkness dash towards the door. which was shut. I can't explain how unsettling it is to see a shadow when there's no source of light at all. Can you understand how you can see something darker than total darkness? I know I'm sounding crazier and crazier. I pulled the covers over my head and tried like hell to will myself back to sleep. I could hear whispers and small movements around me. I'm getting chills just writing this. Thankfully, I woke up and light was visible from my bedroom window. I decided to grab my laptop and went to one of my favorite late night spots close to my house. I grabbed a drink and took up a spot in one of the comfortable chairs in the corner by a synthetic fireplace. I researched what has been seemingly stalking me for the last 20 plus years. A few drinks later, and I'm deeply immersed in the legends of demons that attach themselves to unwilling humans. This has been going on for as long as time itself, it seems. Finally having enough, I closed the screen of my laptop, seeing an awful bird-like face looking right at me. It appears to be on fire, eyes burning of hate. The next thing I remember is being shaken by one of the bartenders. "Hey, it's closing time, man, and you know you can't fall asleep in here, bro." Looking side to side, seeing no weird birds, I shake my head and sheepishly apologize. I quickly packed up my computer and made good on my bar tab, which was way more than I remember drinking. As I entered my home, for what I hoped isn't the last time, I throw my keys on the table near the door. Taking a groggy look at the calendar on my wall, I smirk when I see the date, October 30th. Not yet, Kubaton butthole. I turn on all the lights, and then I see it. My bedroom door is open. I never leave it open.